There are a lot of rumors spreading around that Playground Games, the developer behind the Forza Horizon series, is working on the follow-up to Fable 3. While we don't have any confirmed news about Fable 4, we do know that when Playground Games was asked if they were working on a Fable sequel, they only responded with, "We are working on something big." With that being said, we don't like to spread rumors. However, if there is a new Fable coming, we could not be more excited and our fingers are crossed. Fable is a series that we here at Obi Gaming hold close to our hearts. After hearing the rumors that a new Fable title was on its way, it got us thinking. What would we want to see in a new Fable 4? While I will be going over the 5 main topics that we want to see, there will be smaller subtopics in each category. Also, before we get into it, I want to mention if you want the best audio quality out of this video, we recommend that you use a headset or headphones while watching. Hey, this is Obi from Obi Gaming, and without further ado, here are 5 things we want in Fable 4. While the past entries in the series did have a pretty vast world, it was segmented with loading screens and limited to narrow branching paths minus some large areas. We would like to see an open world without loading screens, similar to Skyrim or Zelda Breath of the Wild. Albion was rich with environments from the hills of Lookout Point that connected the Heroes Guild to Bowerstone and the Balverine-infested forest of Darkwood. There are many places to wander and get lost in. While we would like to see these areas connected in one seamless world, I can only imagine walking down a hill into a valley, only for the scenery to change from a bright and sunny environment to a dark and creepy but beautiful place with glowing mushrooms and the feeling of tension around every turn. While the worlds in the first Fable 3 installments were littered with beautiful environments to explore, they felt limited and quite small. While you can say that this was limited due to hardware, you only need to remember that titles like Skyrim and Red Dead Redemption were released on the Xbox 360, and so were Fable 2 and 3. Having an open and seamless world would feel more organic when exploring, rather than feeling like you were here because the developer wanted you to be in this area at this exact moment. And with more open areas leaves us the chance for random encounters with the wildlife and fantasy creatures scattered around Albion. We would like to see more caves and dungeons that you can explore. While these were present in the first 3 installments, they were kind of rare. When delving into caves and nooks hidden around the map, developers could also integrate more puzzles that could lead to some long lost treasure. With a larger world, we also need a better way to travel. We think that mounts would be a great addition to the series and would help traversing the world of Albion. We would also like to see new environments. The 3rd installment in the franchise brought us to the desert of Aurora. While I would like to see this area again, I think adding some new environments in would be a welcome change. We would also like to see a focus on demon doors, as these were a major staple of the series. We would like to see more lore and the variety of puzzles that they offer. Oh, and a side note, let's remove the gnomes and gargoyles from the 2nd and 3rd installments, as we found these to be cheap and annoying ways to get players to backtrack through previous areas. Fable has always been a series with a deep and interesting world, although the combat has always felt kinda stiff. Fable 1, we felt, had the best combat in the series, even though this had the most tank-like controls. Fable 1 allowed you to be more free in the skills that you can develop, especially your magical abilities. Spellcrafting could also be added, allowing you to create and mix spells at your own will. As the series progressed, the speed of combat became faster, but the RPG elements were slowly removed. The series did allow you to gain experience points based on the skills that you were using. We would like to see this go deeper. Just like the great amount of spells you could cast in the first title, it would be nice to see more hand-to-hand skills that would develop as you play the game. We especially love the combat in the latest Assassin's Creed titles, and we would like to see something similar brought to the Fable franchise. Assassin's Creed Odyssey allowed you to take on large amounts of targets at one time, and if your timing was right, you could walk away unscathed. But you needed not only in-game experience, but you also had to be experienced as a player. Another big step the franchise could take is making a larger focus on boss battles. The boss battles in the first 3 titles were like fighting regular enemies, but if they had massive amounts of health. We can honestly say that we only remember 1 or 2 boss fights in the series, as these moments were not memorable at all. We would like to see these fights more fleshed out, with maybe some puzzle mechanics dropped in similar to the bosses in the God of War series, but maybe without all the button prompts. Boss fights should be bigger and better than they have ever been in the series, leaving you with an impact that you could later discuss with your friends. Maybe you could have a different focus on the bosses in the way that you've built your character. Fighting the boss depending on your character's build could be more dynamic in the way that you use your playing field, having to tap into the boss's weakness in different ways depending on if you're a melee, ranged, or magic wielder. Fable 1 had the best RPG elements in the series. For example, the armor that you wore could boost your defense and give you the upper hand during combat against tough foes. As the series continued, armor was replaced with outfits that offered nothing more than appearance aesthetics. While it was nice to be able to make your character look the way that you want, the allure of gaining a new piece of clothing was lost. A new helmet or a set of leather trousers gave you nothing, and we absolutely hated finding clothing in chests in the second and third entries. We would also like to have more control of the character's look. While you could change things like your character's hair color and the color of your clothing, we think that deeper character creation would be the best way to go. In more games that allow you to create your own character, you feel a deeper connection with said character and therefore feel more connected with the world. We feel that the weapons need a nice facelift as well. With the first 3 installments, weapon variety was scarce. Again, with the first title being the best and most obvious weapon progression, we would like to see more weapons and also a better way to enhance your weapons. While we did like the augments that you could add to your weapons such as fire or electrical damage, I think we could take this to the next level with a little crafting. Being able to change your hilt or reinforce your blade would be a nice touch, and the same goes for your armor. The Fable series has always been known for its good versus evil approach to character development. Though we did enjoy being able to become the best of either world, we do think that it could go deeper. There was little to offer in what side you chose. Your physical appearance would change depending on how good or evil your character was. If you were totally good, you could develop a halo and a slight golden aura. But if you started murdering the various town folks and became the true evil version of yourself, your character would develop horns. Apart from physical appearance, the only other thing you could access were certain demon doors or a special guild for your personality. Oh, and the NPCs would react to your appearance as well, some cowering at your demonic appearance, or some complimenting you on how handsome you were if you were better suited for a halo. With that being said, we would like to see more impact on the choices that you make in this world. Similar to what Dying Light 2 is doing with their choice mechanic, where your choices could change or even open new parts of the map, we would like to see this implemented in Fable 4. Character choice should have a grand impact in this installment. Let's give you an example. Let's say that your character stumbles across the Balverine, and this Balverine tries to convince the player that he is good, does not want to harm anyone. The player is left with 2 choices: believe the Balverine and let him live, or kill the Balverine because nothing good ever comes from those creatures. Now let's say that the player decides to spare the Balverine, and because of this, the creature decimates an entire village. Not only would you have to tend with the guilt of making the wrong choice, but now the surviving members of the town are angry with the player and refuse him or her any services. Or maybe the whole town is now gone, and so are all the side quests associated with the village. Now if the player chooses to destroy the creature, then he would be seen as a hero in the town and given discounts at shops and maybe even a gift or two by the inhabitants of the village. This is just one of the many choices that you would have to face in this game. We absolutely love the setting of the first game, and if you haven't figured it out by now, the first game was our favorite. Fable 1 had a true medieval presence to it, and as the series progressed, it turned into more of a modern colonial setting. We want to see its medieval roots show in this title. One of the best things the series has done over the years is to show the development and progression of the world. In the first game, you get to go to the small town of Bowerstone, and as the series continued, the city would grow into a small kingdom and later into a sprawling metropolis. We think it would be interesting if you could have a hand in building this city. Another interesting idea is the Heroes Guild, as you could have a hand in forming and developing the guild before the events of the first title. With that being said, you could also witness the rise of Jack of Blades, or even be the founder of Oakvale, the small town that the hero from the first title was born and raised before the tragic bandit raid ever occurred. With the game being a prequel, there are so many possibilities to help the development and lore that has been established in later games. The Fable franchise is littered with plenty of lore to choose from, and we think this would be a welcome format for an already amazing series, and the addition of a prequel would help flesh out some of that lore, making you feel more a part of the world rather than just hearing about it in later installments. Well, I know that we said the video was going to be about the 5 things that we wanted, so we'll keep this part quick. The Fable franchise is well known for its waltz-like music that gave this series its own unique sound that still resonates with us today. Please bring back Russell Shaw and Danny Elfman to compose the soundtrack. We feel that it would not be a proper Fable title without the original composers to create a new but familiar sound for Albion. So that wraps it up, guys. Now we want to know, if there is a new title on its way, are you excited? Have you ever played any of the games in the series? What would you like to see in a Fable 4 installment? Please let us know in the comments below. Also, if you have yet to do so, please hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing Obi-Sobi content. It helps us grow our community and reach a broader audience, and we really appreciate it. You can also follow us on Twitter by clicking the link down in the description below. Until next time, this is Obi, signing out. See you guys next time.